So big hi from Kiev. I'm Lisa, and I work in a design development space for the last 5 years, I think. I love building products and helping them grow. When I have free time, I contribute to open source, and I really love share my knowledge, because everything what I have learned, I learn on practice. And my professional, let's say, career started in 2015 when we made our company with my co-founder Ahmed. So basically, we went to hackathon, presented an idea, and decided, okay, now let's make a business. We decided to release our first product in 3 months. It took us 13 months, and when we released it, it was a total disaster. People didn't like it, so we pivoted the product, released it second time, and with zero marketing budget, we got clients from Uber, Basecamp, Spotify, Nike. We built community around our products. On the way, we released a tool to reduce sketch file sizes, which got 10,000 downloads. We reduced tool for giving feedback for designers. And through this challenging and tough journey, the most essential question for us was how to get users and how to motivate them to use our product frequently. And it's a big challenge for every product company. And it's even more difficult in the iOS world, because you are competing with basically 2 million other apps on the App Store, and yours should get attention. Moreover, when your app gets attention, you should compete with apps which person has on his or her phone. On average, people have starting from 50 apps installed. I decided to test this data with a simple Twitter poll, and it turned out that people in the tech community might have 100, 200, 300 apps on their phones. How your app can get attention? The most funny moment is that from all those apps, people using on a daily basis from 10 till 20, on average 15 apps. So can you imagine that you need to get attention from 700 installed apps to be in that top 15? And if you are not lucky enough to be inside those 15 apps, your app will be killed. On average, 70% of people sitting in this room will delete apps they have installed today in 3 months. So if people don't use your apps, they will delete it. It sounds pretty sad. And our plan for today will be find out how to overcome this issue, how to become top of mind for your users. First, we will identify why people deleting your app, what is the reason, and how to prevent those reasons. How to find right users who will use your app. How to show them a value right away, and how to onboard them so this value will be shown pretty fast. How to hook them and build habits around your products. And how to remind them come back to your app in a nice and polite manner. And if there is something additional you can give in your app. So let's start our journey with the most tough question. Why your app can be abandoned? Recently, I read pretty interesting research. When retention company asked 2,000 people why they have deleted their their last app. It was US-based citizen, and it was average, not heavy iPhone users. 40% of people simply didn't use the app, so they killed it. Another common reason was limited storage space. Then it comes annoying notifications, bad advertisement, and the smallest reason actually were bugs. So on your side, on delivering and building mobile app, everything was done nice. So why the hell they have deleted your app if it was working? I asked the same question from developers, and most of them, again, deleted app because they don't use it, even more than because notifications or storage issue. Why people would not use your app? Let's think about it for a moment. Maybe they simply could not register. Maybe once they registered, they didn't understand how to use your app, how to navigate. So they were not able to achieve their goal in your app, and they didn't see the value as a result, or the value was overpromised in your marketing materials or in the App Store. So when they tried your features, they were super unhappy with that. Or maybe it was one-time task for them to do with your app. For example, they came to Turin and they needed a local city guide only for 1 day. Do they need your app after that? All of this is actually fixable. With user research, understanding user needs and providing useful solution with the right design and feature set, with improved onboarding, and with showing value first. We'll cover this later in the talk. Let's come to the second biggest issue. The storage is a big constraint for many users. In fact, in that research, the biggest amount of people who informed that storage was reason to delete, it were women, like ladies who had too many, probably photos, so they deleted any app which has a big size. We had this problem in 2016 when we released Flawless app. While it's a Mac application, it was so huge that people emailed us, well, we love your app, but if you don't make it smaller, sorry, we will delete it. It sounds funny, but sometimes we don't pay attention to this. And it's pretty easy to fix with technical moments like optimization, lighter version, and thinking about this beforehand. So person at least will be able to download your app and not delete because it's the biggest in his storage. When it comes to advertisement, it's pretty tricky topic. For one hand, you as developers can earn money through advertisement inside your app. It's a good monetization model when the app is free. For another hand, if your app is technically bad, if they're blocking user from doing key actions, if they disrupting user flow in the middle of the user journey, that will be the reason to delete your app. Or technically flawed apps is those which you simply can't close. Or there is no close button, or it's too small, or it's hidden, or the link is broken, and sometimes that happens. This is an app which I downloaded to listen radio online. Yes, I do that. And I couldn't close this ad because it just didn't work. And it was one of the reasons to delete this app after 2 minutes of using. Your ads can be low quality. One is generally very hard to build a good UI and find the good UX for your user. It's super bad when the ad destroys your UX at all. It might be bad size, bad colors, bad copy, bad resolution, or it just might look ugly. So one person sees it, the average experience from working with your app is damaged. And it might be the reason to switch to a competitor who has a better experience, which is actually not your problem, but the ad caused that. I found this screen in the App Store review, and when ads are offensive, that's just a red sign. The ad is deleted immediately. So you need to keep an eye on that as well. When I was using this Super Radio app, when I switched from one radio station to another, I was shown a big pop-up banner for the whole screen. So basically, I couldn't switch radio station without watching to the ad. And it happens basically after each my user action. Obviously, I killed this app as well, because such a type of advertising is really, really ugly. While you can't control what advertisers show in your app, you still have a way to check because it's your app and you are in charge of user experience. You can use touch maps, so you'll see gestures when people try to close the app, but they couldn't. If it's appropriate, you can do session recordings, so you'll see how your users engage with your app and how do they see ad from their side. Also, you can use fraud detection tools, which will allow to block, let's say, black advertisers. And all of this is your responsibility. While ads are kind of out of your control, you're totally in control of push notifications. And that was one of the big reasons to deleting apps as well. Firstly, there are too many notifications from all the apps installed on the user phone. Not everyone knows that they can switch it off. So if they don't know how to switch it off, they know how to delete the app. Because many notifications, they are unpersonal, they come in a wrong time, and they are totally inappropriate and bring zero value for users. This is fixable with a well-thought push notification strategy, which we'll talk in many details today. While there are many other reasons why your app can be deleted, like problems with privacy, high battery consumption, or some social trends like delete Uber, for example. However, still the biggest one is that people don't use your app. And maybe, just maybe, it was a wrong people who installed your app into the first place. So your task is to find right users for whom your app will be targeting. I want to make it more practical and give an example. When in 2018 we started looking for users for flawless feedback, we did a landing page and asked people to leave email if they want to give feedback on iOS apps faster. And it was very clear that this is app only for Mac users. It's a Mac app. This app can be used only for people who work with iOS apps. However, when we look on our analytics, we were super surprised to see that many Windows users wanted to download our app, and most of them didn't work with iOS at all. So they would never even have a chance to use it. So why those wrong people came to our landing? Why they wanted to use our app? And that's essential question and very, very nice example that your app might be downloaded by totally wrong people. You can fix it by doing user research. Basically, when you know your users, when you have user persona, you can make product roadmap and build features for those people. You can build design which will help those people. Make onboarding specific for those users. You can make a messaging which will catch exactly those people. And you can use distribution channel, different types of advertisement, free marketing, product launches, content, which will be targeted specifically for those people. By this way, you will eliminate all the wrong people who come and download your app. So let's talk a little bit more how to run user research. Because I want you after this talk to go and run your user research for your apps. Firstly, you draft a user persona. It's just a simple set of hypotheses about the person. Then you write questions to validate those hypotheses. And when you have hypotheses, when you have questions, you go talk to real people. You ask those questions, you interview them, and you validate where you are right and where you are wrong. When you set up your user persona, you make all further decisions based on that persona. How it looks for us. For Flawless app, we defined user profile, where the person works, what is the type of the company, what conference he attends, what is his typical workflow, how often does our persona has product releases, at least it should be twice per month, what other tools he or she is using. So we had a very, very clear picture how to find those people, what is important for them, and we used it both for building our product, showing our value first, and targeting those people. If you are lucky enough and you have users in your iOS app, you can invite them for user interviews. You can try to answer to the reviews. You can reach them via emails. You can use different techniques just to talk to them and validate your hypothesis. So you will know if your persona, which you draw on a nice slide, is actually close to reality. Often it doesn't, but after 5-7 iterations, you can make it work. But what to do if you don't have users? You have a great app idea, which you plan to implement on the next weekend. What you should do in that way, in that case? You should talk to friends who is similar to your user persona. You should find people who attend events which you think your user persona might attend. If I'm building an app for iOS developers, I will come to Swift Heroes and try to talk to someone sitting on the first row, like ask, hey, what do you think about this idea? How do you solve this problem? How did you solve it in the past? You can reach out to users of your competitors. You can even send cold messages on Twitter or LinkedIn, asking people that, hey, we're running user research, maybe you are open to spend 15 minutes with us. And we did exactly this when we were launching Flawless Feedback. We called it Flawless App for Developers. You ask, hey, designers, we are working on a new idea. Maybe someone has 15 minutes to chat. We had no product. We had hypotheses around our user persona, hypotheses about functionality, and we had several mockups. Basically, just design. Nothing works there, but just design. And we set up user interviews and validated many things just at that stage, at the idea stage. Your user research should help you define specific functionality. which will bring the most value for your ideal user. You should define design which shows these features in the best way for these users. Like if you're doing app for meditation, how it will look for my user. If you're doing a security app, how it will look. You'll define positioning, message which you will use on your site, in your app store, which you will use in emails and all promotions. Like everything will be tailored to those users. So when he sees that message, it will speak to his heart and mind. And you will know what marketing channels to use. Obviously, if your user don't spend time on Twitter, you don't need to be active on Twitter. You don't run Twitter ads. If your users spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, that's a clear sales strategy to work there. So you have very clear ideas how to get the right users. And if you did a good job here, you will be lucky enough to have people who downloaded your app, not because they did it randomly, like Windows users for our product. Your next task is to build onboarding. Onboarding is introducing features to person in the way that he will understand how to use your product, how to discover the value, and how to use it. Before you go to onboarding, you need to understand what does successful onboarding means for you. Basically, you should understand what does it mean frequency of key events, and what will be the key event for you. To make it more practical, flawless app should be used at least twice per month, because big product releases with UI happens twice per month for our ideal user. So if someone uses our product after onboarding twice per month, we are successful with onboarding. Key event for us is comparison of design and real app. So if someone does that twice per month, we succeed with onboarding our user, with explaining the value. And this is super valuable because metrics like daily users, monthly users, users of the third day, of the first month, of the second month, those are important events, but they should be tailored for your users, for your specific experience in the app. When you have defined those metrics, you can use different types of onboarding, and designers is working on introducing even more. Benefit approach is when you show how user can achieve benefit, like can get value through your features. It's basically not talking about functionality, but talking about this is what you will achieve on each step of using of my app. You can use feature approach. Instead of talking about value, you talk about features and how to use them. So, this type of onboarding works best when you have a feature-heavy app, and if you don't explain that, person will not be able to understand. For flawless app, we explain how to use features because some of them were not obvious for people. You can use action-oriented approach when people need to do actions like upload something, make a comment, just engage with an app so they will learn how to work with your app later on. Also, it can be account setup approach. It's kind of boring one when the person needs to set up account before he can use an app. WhatsApp is a great example of that. Also, interactive approach, it's when you, through gamification and playful way, talk with people. Like most companies do combine approach when they put all together. For example, Evernote, when you open their app first time, they are showing a nice animation. This is basically an animation in which they are showing value which you will get from using their features. Also, there is a common practice that if you need to ask your user to do some heavily action, like sign in, which is, again, time investment per person, you need to show value. That's why almost all the time when you have sign in with something, it's approach when you show benefit. After this animation, they go to action-oriented approach. Hey, play with my app. Create a note, use the camera. So they, during onboarding, it's basically, this is a second screen, this is third screen, on third and fourth screen of your onboarding. They already teach you how to use their app, which is pretty cool. And then they're going to interactive approach when they interact with you like, show me more, send me more. It's not about teaching person, it's about having open dialogue when you interact with the user. So they use all approaches, almost, which we talk about in just one single onboarding, which, by the way, is pretty short. This is account setup approach. when when WhatsApp make you fill all the data before you can go on. It's typical for messaging app, and obviously, if you know that your user are used to such type of onboarding, that's what you should do in your app. Headspace has pretty interesting onboarding because for one hand, it's very interactive. They ask questions. It feels like you talk with an app, but on the background of this, they're getting data. They do user segmentation by the goals. They do segmentation by the level of the person. Are you a beginner? Are you middle? Or maybe you're advanced? Also, they do segmentation when to send you push notifications. So they're onboarding while teaching you about the product, a very smart way to do user research. And it's very branded. It's follow all of their design guidelines. So when you think about onboarding in general, you need to avoid unnecessary steps. You don't need to ask for data or information you don't need. Onboarding should be as simple as possible. You should avoid a very hard sign-up process because people on the phone will simply skip that. Also, long texts, a lot of animations, long descriptions, those things work pretty bad for onboarding as well. And it should be tailored to user persona and consistent with your brand. Headspace is a great example of consistency and creativity in their onboarding. Your onboarding should move user from signing up to the app to the aha moment as fast as possible. Let's talk about what does it mean, fancy aha moment. For your case, it's specific action, key event inside your app, after doing which your user will have dramatically higher retention. So this is like event which user does, and then likelihood that he will come back to you is much higher. For the user, it's the biggest value he sees in the app. Usually, person will see the app when he registers to your app, when he comes through all onboarding, so it really takes a lot of time to get there. And your idea to bring this value, this aha moment, as fast as possible. I will make a practical example. For Flawless app, the biggest value was the comparison of design and the real app. From analytics, we saw that if person completes that action several times, the likelihood that he will come back second time, like twice per month, like in 2 weeks, much higher. So our goal was to bring this aha moment, this value, as fast as possible, so person will see, yes, I like this product. However, we had one big problem. Before uploading, making comparison of design and real app, person had to upload a design. Previously, app looked like step 1, upload design, step 2, do comparison. Pretty logical. But it was the biggest bottleneck in our product, which basically means that a huge portion of people simply could not upload design. If they could not upload design, they don't see the value. If they don't see the value, they delete an app in 3 months, which was very bad for us. So what we did to fix it, we added in onboarding a screen with explaining how to upload design. It's again feature onboarding, but we had a problem that people didn't understand how to do that. Then we redesigned the app. We put step with uploading design at the main screen, made it self-explanatory, like as easy as possible, and also part with comparison, which is this one modes. We put it on the one main screen. So even if you don't have design uploaded, you see that you can do that. Also, we put that comparison of design and real app on the website. So by this, we put our aha moment on the main screen. So if person came here and did this comparison, he will come back to our app. And that's your task, to find that aha moment and to put it as close as possible to the user journey. How can you do that? Firstly, you create hypotheses. You track different events in your app, and you see that this event usually leads to this result. So you create hypotheses. Okay, if person upload a picture and make a comment, the likelihood that he will come back on the day 2 and on the day 3 is much higher. So how can I make him upload design and make comment with all ways I have? Second one, you need to segment new users and old users, because aha moment, like the biggest value for one user, let's say someone who just started learning language apps, and the value for another user who learning like 10 languages already will be totally different. So they should see different functionality, different design, and their aha moments will be very different from from each other. Also, if your app is dependent on algorithmical content suggestion, let's say Pinterest or Instagram or Medium, you need to ask preferences as fast as possible, because then you will be providing useful content for person early on, which means if the biggest value aha moment is get nice articles on Medium, it means you should suggest excellent articles when the person firstly opens the homepage of Medium. And it should be super fast. And when you define that magical aha moment, it would be ideally for you to use it on your site, in your marketing materials, basically everywhere, so people will see the value as fast as possible. And ideally, we'll come back to your app next time. About coming back to your app next time, your app should form a habit around using it. It sounds pretty fancy, but it boils down to pretty simple steps. You use triggers. So it's like behavioral motives why people might do something. Those are external and internal. External triggers will be sending push notification. Internal will be reacting to those notifications if it's important for us. When you trigger person, he should do some specific action. For you, it means doing action inside your app, performing something to achieve his goal. Later on, when person made or achieve his goal, you need to give him some kind of reward. Ideally, this reward should be changed. And then person should invest in your app, which means both financial investment, time investment, uploading photos, adding more content. In practice, it looks like this. Headspace send you a notification, don't forget to meditate today. And person is getting external trigger, or you're getting email from them. Internal trigger is, okay, what will happen if I don't meditate? I will feel bad. And they have a lot of nice visuals about how you would feel if you don't meditate. So you are hooked, or like you are triggered to go and do the action, which is meditating. And Headspace is doing their best to make this meditation process super simple and seamless for you inside the app. When you perform that meditation, you are getting reward. You achieve your goal, you get some gamification, you spend so many minutes, you're just awesome. And this awesomeness is changed from time to time. In Memrise, for example, I'm moving to the top of English learners in Ukraine, and I feel like, wow. So when you create that reward, people feel happy. And then, ideally, person will invest, which might be buying paid subscription, or which might be adding time in the app. By investment, I mean uploading a lot of photos in Instagram, or writing article or Medium, or putting information to your LinkedIn profile. So all of that, your investment. So it's very hard for you to give up on the app if you already paid for that, if you already uploaded all your photos, if you already put all your CV online, if you already uploaded all your documents in the Google Drive. It's so hard for you to just stop using this app. And you use those hooked model for building habits around your product and around your app. with a woman from your region, and by the end, you can also read those discussions. People who use this app highly value this feature because they can talk with community just like them. If you can find those community building pieces in your app, it will be very useful for people. So let's summarize. Firstly, you need to avoid all of the things which might lead for people to deleting your app. You just should prevent them. You should find the right users, someone who will be using your app because you provide the biggest value, especially for them. You should onboard them in a way that they will understand how to use your app. Ideally, you show your biggest value right away, so people will come back to an app. And you build a habit around your app using the hooked model. And you remind people, please use my app in a very nice and polite manner, with giving additional value whenever you can do that. And hopefully, with this, you'll have a lot of users who are coming back to your app as frequently as you ask them. Thank you. Any questions?